Hi, today we're going to be looking at a famous passage in Mark 10 where Jesus meets someone who is called the rich young ruler. The two men meet and the rich young ruler asks Jesus, how do I inherit eternal life? He's asking, what is it to be a religious person? What is it to be a Christian? And Jesus says to him, you know the commandments. Then he goes on and says, one thing you lack. Go and sell everything you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come and follow me. At this the man's face fell. He went away sad, because he had great wealth. And a few verses later, in verse 27, Jesus says, with men this thing is impossible, but not with God. With all things are possible with God. All things are possible with God. Jesus sees in this young man who asks a good and honest question about what it is to follow him, to be a Christian. And he sees two problems that he wants to address in the young man. The first is, in a sense, his self-sufficiency. He's asking the question, what do I have to do to inherit eternal life? But Jesus wants to point him towards that it's not so much about what I can do, but it's what God has done for me. That's why he says this thing about, with God all things are possible, but with man it is impossible. Do we rely on God to save us, or are we looking for our own self-justification, for our own strength and power to fix the situation? Or is it God that we are relying on? The second thing that Jesus wants to challenge in this man's life is his wealth. It's not so much wealth that's a problem in itself, but it seems that with this man, wealth is becoming before everything else. Jesus challenges him at the very point which he finds hardest. And I think we can all say that we've experienced that sometimes, that Jesus says, what's that thing that you think is most precious? If it's not me, you need to get rid of it. Are we prepared to give up those things that we treasure and value because they stand in the way of our love and devotion for him? Let's ask God today to help us to be his followers, to put him first rather than our own desires, and to put him first above all those other things which we can think are so important.